Hello, this is Philosophical Rebellion. Today I want to talk about economic inequality because it is one of the biggest issues in the United States and around the world, and we could actually greatly increase the quality of life for nearly everybody just by having the economic elite be less greedy. And it truly is an issue where the economic elites need to understand that the extent of their extreme hoarding of wealth is wrong. And a society with widely distributed wealth is better than a society with extreme wealth concentration. And one person who has made that point very eloquently is Abigail Disney, who is an heir to the Disney fortune worth over $100 million. And she has advocated for a wealth tax. But more importantly, she has advocated for other ultra wealthy Americans to shift their ideology to be receptive to ideas that address economic inequality. And she has talked about growing up with extreme wealth, like stories of having a personal 737 airplane with her own stewardess and a bed to sleep on. And as she grew older and realized that she was enjoying that extreme wealth built on the backs of people that Disney was keeping in poverty, she realized that it was wrong for her to enjoy all of that incredible luxury while the people that her wealth was made from were not enjoying comfortable lives. And that is one of the main reasons she was criticizing the Disney CEO for making nearly 1,000 times the annual pay of the average Disney employee, while he was fighting against unionization and higher wages for Disney employees. The CEO specifically called the nighttime janitors' complaints that they cannot afford basic needs with a full-time salary from Disney, so they were demanding a living wage, and the CEO called those demands unreasonable. And as Abigail Disney pointed out, it's truly unreasonable for a corporation to expect its workers to live in poverty while working full-time. But that's an issue that transcends the Disney Corporation. That's actually a systemic issue in the United States. 70% of people on welfare actually work full time, and they mostly work at large corporations that pay incredibly low wages. When the Government Accountability Office investigated that, they actually found that the top employers of welfare recipients were Amazon, Walmart, Dollar General, Kroger, and McDonald's, which is truly insane because these corporations are also some of America's largest employers. And those wages are so incredibly low for a very specific reason, and it's one that Abigail Disney has actually pointed out. Corporate America is engaged in price fixing in order to keep the working class living in poverty. Well, the CEOs are making a ton of money off of their labor. But more importantly, the shareholder class is making an incredible amount of money off of the labor of those workers who are living in poverty. And that brings up America's biggest issue with economic inequality: class warfare. And for the last 50 years, the economic elites have been absolutely dominating America's class war. And that has a lot to do with the United States forgetting the history of the labor movement, which created our good economy to begin with. So we've actually lost a tremendous amount of the progress that the United States labor movement created. So if we actually went back to before the downfall in the 1970s and just took the amount of inequality they had back then and applied it to wages today, every member of the working class would be seeing another $42,000 in their paychecks per year that in our current economy today instead goes to the corporate executives and the shareholders. So while Walmart and McDonald's and Kroger and Amazon workers are working full-time to live in poverty and barely make ends meet, the CEOs are making thousands of times what the workers make, and the shareholders are making even more. So while a Walmart worker will be making a few cents per minute, a member of the Walton family will be making thousands of dollars every single minute based on the profit generated through the labor of the Walmart worker. Jeff Bezos goes to space on rockets he built funded by Amazon workers. He built a super yacht worth $500 million that needed a $70 million support vessel to handle all of the crew to cater to his every whim from the money he gets from the labor of Amazon workers. The floor of the American economy is set too low, and at the same time, our culture has started to devalue labor, where we are telling the workers who generate billions of dollars in profit through their labor, like the Walmart worker stocking shelves, or the McDonald's worker flipping a burger patty, or the Amazon worker delivering packages, or the Dollar General worker managing a whole store, that they don't deserve a living wage, that they should expect to live in poverty, because it is their fault that their job is not sufficient to sustain their basic life needs. And that happens while we ignore that as a society, America's largest employers have successfully extracted decades worth of wealth away from their workers and sent it to a small group of corporate executives and an even smaller group of large shareholders. And it's gotten to such an extreme point that 15 billionaires in the United States possess more wealth than the bottom 50% of our society. And the top 10% possesses more wealth than the bottom 90%. We actually have a higher level of extreme wealth concentration than America saw right before the Great Depression. So we need to start addressing the problem of extreme economic inequality. So just like Theodore Roosevelt said a little over a century ago, it is essential that there should be organization of labor. This is an era of organization. Capital organizes, and therefore labor must organize. And remember the enemy that we are facing, because just as the father of capitalism, Adam Smith, said, "All for ourselves and nothing for other people," has, in every age of the world, been the vile maxim of the masters of mankind. So don't forget, the economic elites view themselves as our intellectual and cultural betters, and their greed will never be satisfied. So we as a society have to put a stop to it.